Hello guys, welcome back to Walker Reviews. I'm Walker. Today I'm going to review Marvel's Spider-Man for the PS4. I have to say this is probably the best superhero game I've played in years. Hands down, absolutely. And I've got to say this is probably the greatest superhero game I've ever played or have ever been made. Insomniac have really nailed it. They've really nailed the punch of how to make a superhero game. They, it's just highly, and I can see why that the amount of copies that were sold in a matter of just days, more than God of War. I'd say millions. Anyway, I'm going to do this review mullet style. I'm going to give you my honest review, and then I'm going to talk about spoilers in the back. Spider-Man. Well, um, it's not an origin story, so it's already know the whole thing of how Spider-Man was born, how he got his powers, how Peter Parker got his powers, all that stuff. We don't really need to know that because everyone should know that. Um, it takes place in a few years after he's become Spider-Man, so he's in his 20s. Peter Parker's in his early 20s. Um, and One day, there's a new villain that emerges in New York City and wreaks havoc, and that's Mr. Negative, um, Martin Lee. I didn't really have much knowledge about Mr. Negative. I didn't know much about him, but it all ties together. Um, you it's a good story. It's really well put together, and you're not just the playable character. Spider-Man's not the only character you play as. You get to play as Mary Jane, which is really cool, and another character which I'm not going to say because that's spoiler related. So I'll leave that for the afterwards. And so it's basically based around the Sinister Six, the six villains that which are Spider-Man's most feared enemies. So you've got Mr. Negative, Rhino, Scorpion, Vulture, Electro, and Doctor Octopus, which is kind of an obvious, thing at the beginning of the game because you meet Doctor Octavius, and because Peter is working for him, he's kind of his go-to guy, and he actually sets you up with a few gadgets here and there. He sets you up with a new suit because in the beginning of the game, you fight Kingpin, Wilson Fisk, and you start off in your classic, Spidey suit with the red spider on the back, and then eventually that gets worn out, so he has to get a new suit, which is on the cover, which I think is really cool. And let's talk about the gameplay mechanics. Well, the web sling, and that's so fun. It's so addicting. You can, as soon as you take off, this every time this Avengers type of melody will play. It's not really like an Avengers theme, but that do 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 that kind of melody, and it's just awesome every time you hear it, and you web sling. It's really fun. The more you upgrade, so there's a skill tree. There's about several skill trees. The more faster you'll get at web slinging, the more you upgrade Spider-Man. And there's plenty of costumes that you can unlock throughout the game. I think there's about 20, maybe more. And they're really unique. They all have their own sort of power-ups and finishing moves and all that. So that's pretty cool. And it's what else can I say? It's just a really well done superhero game. Now, obviously, this is a blatant, an obvious 10 out of 10 rating for me. It's an awesome tacular. So if you have never played a Spider-Man game, you got to have this in your collection. It's a must-have. Same as I said about God of War, that's a must-have as well. Yeah, this is awesome. It's not to be missed. Okay, let's talk about some spoilers now. So if you have not completed Spider-Man, stop watching this video because I'm going to spoil it for you. You can come back to my review later and watch my spoilers, and we can discuss it all. All right, so let's talk about that other playable character. Well, that's Miles Morales, who later becomes the other Spider-Man. He's a playable character that you get to play later on, and at the end he gets bitten by a radioactive spider, uh, maybe hinting a sequel. Um, I really like the boss fights, especially I think my favorite one was probably the final battle with Doctor Octopus when you're fighting on top of, I think it's Oscorp built the Oscorp tower. That's really cool. Spider-Man he gets this black suit, which is kind of used out of spare parts from Doc Ock's arms. So it's kind of like a repellent kind of suit to stop Spider-Man getting injured so much. It's like an armored kind of suit. It's got yellow eyes and a yellow spider on the chest and a black suit. And that helps you out with the final battle with Doc Ock. Yeah, you end up defeating him, lock him in the jail. And yeah, let's talk about the post-credit scenes. There are two at the end, so don't skip the credits in case you miss it. But the first post-credit scene is it's after when Miles gets bitten, and he goes back to, I think he's moved in with Parker, and I think him and Miles are living together in this flat, and he reveals to himself he's Spider-Man, and when Miles they both jump on the ceiling, and they can say, oh yeah, so that's blatantly hinting that maybe we'll see Miles Morales again in a sequel, which is pretty obvious. We'll see a sequel to this game. And let's talk about the final surprise, which is at the very end of the credits. Okay, so after you discover when you're playing as Mary Jane, you go into that Norman's penthouse and you discover secrets about Oscorp and all that. And you notice there's this locked sort of not really a chamber, but it's like a locked sort of capsule or cage, more or less, or like a, you know what I mean. And Norman enters the room and he pushes the button, opens it, and Harry is inside. He's like in this like cryo sort of pod, and what do you know? There's a symbiote in there with him. I wasn't expecting that. The symbiote goes onto this glass and Norman puts his hand out. So I think that's a hint we can see Venom possibly in a sequel. But Harry is Venom, which is different, I suppose, from Eddie Brock. Oh, maybe we can see more of the villains like Venom in the DLC, which is coming out. There's going to be 3 sort of episodes. So I hope we see something. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed my review of Marvel's Spider-Man. It's a must-have. Go out and buy it now. You won't regret it. You'll be absolutely addicted to this game. And yeah, stay tuned for more reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care of yourselves.